Hey, how are you guys? So, what's up? If you're new here, I run Whispers by Jasmine, and my name is Chanel. So, it's nice to see everyone. So today I will be discussing my latest current read that I finished, that I know a lot of people read and a lot of people were discussing because it dropped January 30th. So if you know, you know, in the book community. So Sarah J Maas dropped the third book in her series for Crescent City, A House of Flame and Shadow, and I had some thoughts after this book, and not all good ones. I'm a big fan of Sarah J Maas, I want to first say. I loved Throne of Glass, and then was enamored with A Court of Thorns and Roses, so I was very excited for Crescent City. And after finishing the third book, which kind of wraps up the series, but I know she's also focused on creating another book. It's been definitely, she's hinted at or confirmed that there will be another book in the Crescent City world. So let's get into what I thought about this book. Yeah, so if I had to rank these books, like her series, Crescent City is gonna be last. And I was kind of very disappointed with this last book because it just seemed to, first off, spoiler alert. So this is not a spoiler-free review. But yes. So it's 950 pages, and this book dragged on and on. So again, spoiler alert. So if you didn't read the book and you don't want to be spoiled, stop here. There is a part where the main character Bryce is in a cave, and I felt like I was in the damn cave with her, walking for like miles from like California, trekking through the mountains all the way to the East Coast to New York City for days. Like, it was so unnecessarily long that Bryce was in this cave for the beginning of part of the book that it just took me right out of the book. That was one big thing that I was just like, why? Especially because I was so excited to start the book based off the cliffhanger of the previous book, and it just made me want to put it down. Now, and I forced myself to keep going because I wanted to know what happened the rest of the book and what's happening with Hunt and everybody else. Speaking of Hunt, Bryce pissed me off immensely in this book because she was like, the whole fights when her and him are reunited, I don't know if she did it to be realistic, the author, but it just felt like so unnecessary and stupid because she's like, I want you all in, and it's like, woman, this man just got tortured for the second time in his life. The first time was for 7 years, and this time he had people who he cared about with him as well. And you're talking about, oh, I want you all in. Ma'am, he is helping you with the whole rebellion, which you can be killed for and was tortured for. And you talking about you want him all in. I think he's as in as he needs to be. He's giving you all efforts that he needs to be. So that whole fight to me felt like an unnecessary plot and just felt stupid. And also very insensitive to the fact that this man was just tortured again. So, and not even like this was months later. This is just right after he's been rescued from being tortured. It was like she had no sensitivity to that whatsoever. So that whole pissed me off. But speaking of going into pissing me off, I want to know who y'all think which one was the bigger idiot, Therian or Ethan? Because if I could have squared up with two characters, it would have been those two. Because I don't know where their brain went in this book. Because Therian just decided, let me choose the worst option that I can go with, and went to the Viper Queen. And I was just like, you know, didn't Captain Cindy say if you ever need help, she could help you, and you chose the Viper Queen instead of just choosing Captain Cindy's? Like, yes, I know it's still in the ocean, but sir, okay. Plus you also got a whole bunch of friends that has a way of getting out of shit and decided not to contact not one of them for help to figure out any type of solution. No, the Viper Queen was his best option. So that was one. Ethan thoroughly pissed me off with the whole Sabine Fender hair bullshit, because, sir, you known this girl for 5 minutes. Who says she's gonna be the best ruler after Danica? Like, it didn't make no sense. After she done ripped out your throat and had no hesitation to try to rip out your throat during this fight, you want to bring her back to life because you feel like she's the best bet after knowing her for all of 5 minutes. Make it make sense. It didn't make sense to me. And I know they're probably going to be in the next book because those two have like threads that were unresolved in this one, and I'm like praying that they have the sense smacked into them in this next book and they have major character development, because I feel like that's gonna drag if they were just making the same fucking decisions that they were making in this last one. Because yeah, like, it does not inspire me to want to read the next one if it's about these two idiots being even more idiotic. So, but y'all tell me how y'all felt about Therian and Ethan, and if you agree or if you don't agree. And if you do agree, who did you feel was more idiotic, Therian or Ethan? Please let me know. My major big thing about this book is it was 951 pages, and I felt every inch of those 951 pages while reading it, which is a shame. I felt like this whole series could have been more broken down into multiple books over multiple years, the same way that she did with Throne of Glass. And the fact that it was these 3 long, big books, this third book especially, just dragged. I think my favorite book so far of the series was the second one. And because the first one was slow to get into because it had so much details and she was building this world, but it was a lot at once. And I felt the same way with this third book, that a lot of the plots were kind of very detailed, but also too much detail. And it could have been broken down into 2 parts, this last book. So it kind of just felt like she dragged certain parts, like the cave, but then threw also so much information at the end. And it wasn't like with Throne of Glass, there were parts where she was throwing information at you, but it felt interesting and it felt understandable. At the end, it was just like, for this last book, that she was just throwing all these details and all this stuff, and it just was not as interesting. It was more boring and it was more dense. So overall, not my favorite book from her. Oh, I also forgot to mention, one of my favorite parts of the book was, which was a surprise, was Lydia's character, the Hind. I really liked the plot twist with her, and I really liked her and Rune's interactions. They felt so short for me, and that's how I really noticed that I really liked their characters in this book and their growing relationship throughout the book. So shout out to like Lydia and everything. She was a total badass in this book. And it's so funny because she was just, you know, listed as a villain throughout the whole story prior to this, but I loved her character. What else did I love about this book? The sass, of course. The sass. Sarah J Maas always makes her female characters so sassy and so like confident. Even though Bryce pissed me off immensely in this book, I did like the sassy comebacks, the way, the plans that they made. So like the backup plans to the plans, like when they were facing off with Regulus, is that how you pronounce his name? you know, that they had anticipated him knowing their first plan and made a backup. So that is one thing that I did like about the book. Hoping that the next book is better. The next book, as she's mentioned, is supposed to be more in the Akatar world, so I'm hoping it's as story. So we'll see. Hopefully I like that one better. Let me know if you agree or if you disagree. All right, y'all. If you're tuned in, thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for more reviews, and I have more content coming up for you guys. Bye.